Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley at sprinkledwithglitter.com. Thanks for joining me today. Today I am continuing with my Shine Bright Collection Inspiration Week and sharing another project that features a disco ball shaker card. You knew I was gonna do a shaker. And today for this card, I'm using the Disco Impressions Press Plate and Coordinating Die Set. So I have the largest disco ball from the Disco Impressions press plate set on my hot foil system. This can be used with your hot foil system or with your better press system. Now, once my press plate is thoroughly heated, I am adding my hot foil with the pretty side facing the plate. And then I'm adding a piece of acetate. I'm going to foil on this acetate and create a hot foiled shaker window. Now, I found that when using this acetate, it was helpful to add a shim between the two shims that come with the Glimmer hot foil system. And look at this, I have a beautiful hot foil design on acetate. Now, just keep in mind that when you're using acetate with your hot foil system, you want to make sure that it is heat resistant so that you don't get some warping. But otherwise, you should be able to foil on this just like you foil on any other cardstock. You just may find one additional cardstock shim to be helpful. Now I want to create a background for my card front. So I am marking the center of this 5.5 by 8.5 sheet of white cardstock. And I'm going to kind of draw the circle in a little bit darker so that you can see it. And I'm going to show you how you can perfectly line up this sparkle background hot foil plate. Now, as you can see here, the points of that hot foil plate here and here are lining up with the center of my cardstock. Once I have that perfectly in position, I am going to add 2 pieces of Best Ever Craft tape along the flatter edges of this hot foil plate. That's going to allow me to create a hinge, and I can kind of flip this open, and then I will be able to add my hot foil underneath. This is going to ensure that I get perfect placement of this background on my cardstock. So I'm nestling my Aura hot foil underneath that press plate. I'm going all the way up to the tape, and you can see the pretty side of my foil is facing the pretty side of my hot foil plate. I'm going to position this onto my Glimmer hot foil platform, which is already preheated, and then I'm going to press the timer button and allow that timer to complete its cycle. Once the timer's done, I'm going to remove the platform from the base of my Glimmer hot foil system and take it over to my Spellbinders Platinum 6 die cutting machine, where I will add my shims and run this through. Now, I do have an additional cardstock shim between my 2 shims that come with the Glimmer hot foil system, the spacer pad and the thin shim. That was too much pressure for this hot foil plate, but different machines will vary in pressure. So if you find that you're not getting a perfectly foiled image, it's generally one of 2 things. It's generally that either your hot foil plate is not hot enough, or you need a little bit more pressure. So you can try just a thin cardstock shim. Now I'm going to rotate this press plate, and you can see once again, I'm lining up the points of that sparkle background with the center of that dot. And you're going to see that this pattern will kind of fall into place, and you can create a really large background with this hot foil plate. It's even big enough to create a 5x7 background for a larger card. So I created my hinge on the opposite side this time, so I wouldn't have any tape overlapping the foiling that I've already done. And I added my Aura hot foil underneath my hot foil plate with the pretty side facing the design of my hot foil plate. Then I'm going to take this entire thing, place it onto my Glimmer hot foil system, set my timer, and once the timer's done, I'm going to remove the platform from the base, and I have my thin shim and my spacer pad in place, and I'll run this through my Platinum 6 die cutting machine to press the foil onto this cardstock. And you're gonna see when I do the peel and reveal that I have a perfectly continuous image. Isn't that beautiful? I absolutely love all the shine, and this background is perfect for a variety of occasions, including the holidays. I love that there's not only the beautiful ray pattern that's created, but also the little sparkle pieces that are kind of nestled inside of this pattern. Now, I have used the Precision A2 layering dies from Spellbinders to trim this down, and I'm also using the largest solid die that's included in the Disco Impressions press plate and die set to create a window in this card front. So you can see I've die cut both of those pieces at once, and this window will align perfectly with my hot foiled shaker window that I created on that acetate. So before I adhere my acetate, I decided I wanted to create kind of a colorful glow around this window. So I'm using some blending brushes and some inks from Concord and Ninth to add a little color around this window. And I'm just going to do 3 different segments of colors here. So I'm starting with sea glass ink and adding that. I'm going to clean up my work surface between and also wipe any additional ink off of the foiling that might be sitting on top. Then I'm moving on to citrine ink. This is a really nice, beautiful yellow color, yellow-green color. It's kind of in between. So I'm going to add a little bit of that to kind of that bottom area, kind of circling around. And now I'm using watermelon ink from Concord and Ninth to add a little pink. So I'm getting a few different colors, just kind of a halo of color around my shaker window. And you can see here, I'm not doing anything really fancy. I'm going a little bit deeper and darker with the color around the kind of opening of the window and allowing it to fade out. But I really just wanted to add just a pop of color around this disco ball. Now I'm going to flip my card front over and I'm going to add a thin line of liquid adhesive around the window opening. Then I'll flip my card front over and I'm going to align it with my acetate piece that has the hot foiled disco ball design. I am adding my design at a slight angle, kind of angled towards the right just a little bit to kind of create some interest on this. I just feel like it just creates a better flow on the card with that slight angle there. And you can see, because I use liquid glue, I can kind of manipulate it around just a little bit, but I have a perfectly positioned foiled shaker window. Now for the back of my shaker card, I am going to use some white glitter cardstock, and I wanted to add a little bit of design to this, just that would kind of peek through that shaker window. So I'm just using one of the layered Disco Impression stencils here and a little bit of mushroom ink from Concord and Ninth, and I'm blending that gray design on to the glitter cardstock. And yes, this will dry on the glitter cardstock. It works great. I've done it a lot of times. And this pattern will kind of be offset from the pattern that's created by the press plate in that foiling. So it will just add a little bit more kind of fill in to the open areas of this press plate disco ball. Now on the back of this card front, I need to create some dimension and an area for my shaker bits to kind of shake around. So I'm using some foam adhesive and I'm making sure that the foam adhesive around the disco ball all touches each other so that there's no gaps where all of my shaker guts can't kind of escape when they shake around. And for my shaker bits, I am using some sparkle clear confetti from the stamp market. I got a little too much on my little paper here, so I'm gonna sort that out. And I'm also using some sparkle stars from the stamp market as well. You're gonna see me add these with a spoon this time. I'm making sure all of the shaker bits are within that disco ball area, and then I can remove the backer from the foam adhesive that's on the back of my card front, because I'm gonna position this right over the top of that glitter cardstock with all of my shaker bits. Now, I have learned my lesson about glitter backers for shaker cards. It is a great idea to add some liquid glue to the foam adhesive to really create a strong bond between the foam adhesive and the glitter cardstock. Glitter cardstock can be a little tricky to adhere, so just trust me on this one. You want to add a little liquid glue. And then I position that right over the top, and I'm going to add my large acrylic block on top of that while it's drying to kind of keep that all in place. Now I have one of the sentiment strips. This is from the Shine Bright Sentiment Strips press plate and coordinating die set. This has 13 different sentiments. They are the most fun and encouraging sentiments. I've also used that die to create some additional banners, and I'm stacking those up to create a little grouping and trimming off the top. You can see how they're slightly offset. I've adhered them together with some liquid glue, and then I'm going to adhere this entire grouping onto the front of the shaker card using some liquid glue. And finally, I am going to add the Sparkle On My Friend sentiment. This is from the Sparkle On sentiment set. I'm adding that with a little bit of foam adhesive there, and that sentiment strip says, "You light up my life." Now we're on the home stretch of this card, so I am just removing the remainder of the backer that's on the foam adhesive and then adding some tape runner adhesive to the back of that shaker window. And I have an additional layer of Nectar cardstock die cut here, again with those Precision A2 layering dies from Spellbinders. There are 2 sets, and when you have both sets, you get this really fine offset like you have here with this Nectar cardstock and my card front. Now I took that entire thing and added it to a top folding ivory card base, and you can see I have my beautiful glittery shaker window there. And to finish this card off, I thought I would add a little bit more of this clear sparkle confetti to my card front, just kind of sprinkled down and over the shaker window and kind of continuing down through those sentiments there, just to add a little bit more sparkle, because you know this card wasn't sparkly enough as it was. So there you have it, a really fun foiled acetate shaker window. This is such a bright and cheery card. It's perfect for any celebration or just for celebrating the light that we all have to shine. Now, as always, I will have links to the featured products used in this project in the YouTube description below. So if you're looking for something in particular, be sure you check there. I will have a link to my entire Shine Bright collection over at the Spellbinders store, so be sure to check that out. Or you can head on over to my blog at sprinkledwithglitter.com. I'll have that linked below as well. Over there, you're going to find more still shots, more information, and a complete list of supplies. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this project, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications here so you don't miss any of my card making and paper crafting video tutorials I share. Thanks again for being here. I am so glad you're here. Don't forget to shine bright, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.